Wolverine has the ability to heal from anything, which means that his blood may be a precious resource to, say, vampires. Welcome to the Comicstorian channel, where I take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read them dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. You see, here at Comicstorian, we bring you a synopsis of your favorite comic book, allowing you to catch up on what is going on in the world of comic books so you can go out to your local comic book store or buy them digitally. The issues we're going to be covering today is the Wolverine reboot that launched around the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. Jonathan Hickman took over the X-Men, creating the House of X, Dawn of X, whole Series of X stuff, where he changed everything going on in the world of the X-Men. And as a part of that change, the X-Men now live on an island called Krakoa, where they are free from all of mankind's laws and rules and basically everything. They're free to do what they want to do over there. Wolverine has been a part of this project, and his core goal is to protect the island. That doesn't mean that he doesn't go off on his own little adventures. If you enjoy this type of content, consider giving this video a like and turning on that bell so you get notifications about our next videos. We do 2 to 3 comic book themed videos a week and would love to have you a part of it. Here we go. As the Marauder is loaded up with cargo, Kate taps her foot, stating that he does know that they shove off soon, right? Another half an hour and she's going to dump the hooch into the bay. Wolverine tells her, "Sorry, there was a problem on Marrakesh. The professor asked to." And Kate stops him, telling him, "I'm sorry. What? You're sorry? Jean already told me that you were playing hide and seek with the little nose pickers. Has Wolverine gone soft?" "I wasn't playing. I was teaching them wilderness survival skills." Kate laughs, grabbing him, pulling him on board. "I'm just messing with you. But because you're late, you owe me a few minutes." A few moments later, as the glasses are filled, Kate toasts, stating that she knows that he's not one for feelings, but he does seem a lot happier. Like Krakoa has brought out a better version of him. The only thing is that he has awful taste in booze. She can smuggle him in the finest malt, but he insists on drinking the cheap stuff. Either way, you do look happy, Wolverine. That's all that matters. Krakoa is our home, and you're surrounded by people who you love, even if you won't use the word. He finishes his drink, telling her, "You're not wrong, but enough of this heart-to-heart stuff. You were about to shove off, and you brought me here for a reason. What's the trouble, Kate?" She sighs, telling him that he already knows that the Hellfire Club is responsible for the medicines that the human countries get them from. They control the key chain from production to delivery, but they're somehow losing product. It started off as a few pounds here and there, the quarter shipment, and then on one occasion a full load. They got a lab on Mars and in the Savage Land, and everything gets delivered the old-fashioned way, by ship. Sometimes mind petals go missing, sometimes it's antibody petals. But they have no idea who's responsible or even where their product is going. Meanwhile, over in Baltimore, Detective Jeff Bannister looks at his crime scene, stating that it looks kind of funny. He got called in because they suspected the cartel on cartel violence. These poor guys, they killed themselves. Screwdriver to the head, glass pipette to the eye. All of these wounds are self-inflicted. What the hell were they even baking here? It's not heroin, it's not coke. Nah, this is something new. Just taking a whiff of this stuff and you can tell it's not right. Normally, drug labs make you feel like you're sucking on a tailpipe of a bus, burning hot garbage fuel. But this smells like gardens and grandmas, floral. It's like pollen. But as the new street drug, pollen, gets its name back on Krakoa, home of the X-Men, Wolverine goes to see Sage to see if there is any way to possibly track down the missing petals. She tells him it's hard to determine because of how the petals react to the weather. Mainly, for them to survive, they would need to be in places that are cold. Wolverine looks at the map and sees a mark, asking, "Russia? Just outside of Moscow? Guess that's where we'll start." He calls up X-Force, consisting of Kid Omega, Domino, and Jean, stating that they need to get on the ground as soon as possible with this. Jean tells them that they need to be careful. Whoever they're dealing with is not afraid, and they're pulling all of this off undetected. That could mean. But Wolverine asks, "Inside job? No matter the case, we'll get it taken care of." But while the Gateway prepares to open up a portal, back in Baltimore, Jeff waits patiently in a hospital when he finally is told that she is awake. He walks in and a frail voice tells him, "Hi, Taddy." And he looks at her. "Hey there, pumpkin." His daughter asks if he got his work done, and he tells her, Kind of, or not really. She asks, you know how they're waiting on those special drugs, the antibody petals? The ones that'll make me better? Yeah. Well, people are stealing them and using them for other stuff, bad stuff. They're making your daddy really mad. Later, over in Russia, a priest is gathering his followers, telling them that the gods walk among them. There is no mistake that the X in X-Men, the X gene, tilted is a representation of the cross, a symbol of the higher power, because the mutants represent eternal life, and before he could finish, Wolverine enters with his team. Sometimes Sage is a little too damn precise with the calculations. It is a miracle! We are in the presence of greatness! The gods themselves have been delivered to our house of worship. It is time for communion. First, we must taste of the Krakoan host. Let the pollen bloom inside. And now that we have tasted the flesh of the flower, it is time to drink the blood of the vine! As the priest and the cultists begin to drink the pollen drug, their eyes turn green and they start to hungrily reach out to the X-Men. After getting some ground, Jean says that they are not the enemy that they are looking for. They believe that if they consume the pollen, then Krakoa will bind to their DNA and make them something more. Wolverine pops his claws with a schnick. Everyone maim, not murder, unless they don't give you the option. Shortly after the fighting begins, the followers all begin to drop dead as Wolverine asks Kid Omega if this is his doing. June says that it's not, it's the pollen. So the next night in a bar in Moscow, Wolverine walks into the mob den and everyone pulls out their guns as he tells them, don't bother. If I wanted you dead, you'd all be dead. One of the men snatched the bag that Wolverine is carrying and set it on the table, and as it's opened, they all step back. The boss looks at the severed head of the priest as Wolverine asks if that looks familiar to them. The boss waves his hand. The conversation is over. And just as the thugs all begin to move in, Wolverine slams their faces into the table, popping 2 claws, punching into the mob boss's throat. You might want to talk while you still have a throat. Where'd you get the petals? The boss simply tells him from her, the pale girl. Wolverine pulls the claws back and the boss continues, telling him that at first she was the one that they were dealing with at the flower cartel. She sells them the pollen, but only if they work for her, and she takes 80%. So they started stealing petals from hospitals in Sokovia, tried to garden them themselves. It does not make the pale girl happy. She says that they work for her or else. Or else what? The boss pulls down his glasses to show a scar in his eye that she made by taking his lighter out and putting the flame to it. Cooked it right to the socket. Because she made him. She has her own kind of drug. She gets in your head and makes you do terrible things. And this is why they have psionic dampeners to protect themselves from her. So the next day, Wolverine finds himself in Alaska, letting his body put itself back together, trying to make sense of what just happened. He looks through the icy winds and sees her, the pale girl. He pops his claws out. It was you! You made me do it! But the pale girl fades away and Jeff and his agents run up asking, who made him do it? What is he doing out here? Who the hell is he even? Wolverine falls to his knees as he begins to wonder the same thing. However, moments before, Wolverine found himself face to face with some of the most vicious villains he has ever faced off against. Like always, he won in a bloody fashion. But after driving his claws into the last, he blinks and realizes that the one he just stabbed was Jean. He looks around and realizes that the ones that he just killed were his teammates, Kid Omega, Domino, Jean. No, please! And in one desperate attempt to ward Wolverine off, Jean releases a blast, ripping Wolverine apart. The next time he woke up, he found himself on a table in the healing gardens with the healer telling him that it was all just a dream. He looks at his bloody hands, asking if it was. How did he end up here? Healer says that CIA agent Jeff Bannister dumped him off at the gates. Says he owes him a call and a beer. How long have I been out? He looks down at Bishop and Healer says long enough that what happened to him is happening to the others. So later at the hatchery, Wolverine walks in trying to piece things back together, but while his brain struggles to even connect to the memories, he sees Cyclops watching over Jean's pond. Wolverine tells him that he never meant to hurt them, to hurt Jeannie. Even though they have the ability to come back to life, to be reborn in these new bodies, he never meant to hurt them, and he's going to make things right. But Cyclops turns, realizing that the friend that he trusts with everything just murdered the woman that he loves, and he walks away. Later that day, Wolverine bites the top of his beer off, and he spits out the cap, with Jeff stating that if he needed a bottle opener, he could have gotten one. As Jeff is watering his lawn, he tells him that he doesn't know how good it is to have a good lawn. It's one of life's pleasures, one of the few things that he can control. Now, If you've got grubs or a mole or a creeping Charlie, any one of those things will eat into your hard work and if left unchecked, mucks up all of your sweet Kentucky bluegrass. Do I negotiate with the mole? Do I relocate the grub? Do I rip out most of the creeping Charlie to let a few tangles remain? No, because it's an impossible situation to win if you don't take proper action. There's only one answer. You kill it dead. And Jeff takes a swig. Bingo! The scar on my head. It was from when I was younger, got caught in the crossfire of some mutant showdown, collateral damage in one of their endless wars, and it's happening again right now with the pollen. Widespread collateral damage, Wolverine. And it's you mutants' fault. Even though us humans and mutants don't work with each other, what we saw up north, we don't have a choice. We need to figure this crap out and kill it at the source. Wolverine finishes his beer, telling him, "Killing happens to be my specialty. Let's get to work." After tossing his bottle onto the lawn, Jeff just turns to him. "Dude, seriously?" Later out in the Pacific Ocean, Jeff and Wolverine search to see about the missing shipment Agent Millie said that they found on the radar. Jeff asks if they're being approached, and Millie says no, and at that moment there's a schnick as Wolverine stabs Jeff from behind. And Jeff won't be reborn in the world of the mutants. As the pale girl replaces the image of Millie, she says that the enemy has been with them all along. And now with Wolverine under her control, he smiles as he grabs the wheel. But while driving, Wolverine follows the pale girl's directions, thinking to himself that he has lived a lot of lives. Each of them he wished that he was someone else in some other place. Some versions of him have been weaker, some stronger, some sadder, some wild. However, no matter what odd or broken bits of his brain remain, no matter where and when he finds himself, he always has his gut instinct. That has always been his true north, because somebody who takes the time to think things out and plan ahead is somebody who believes in a better future. He has never been that guy. He is trying, and that's why this time he had a plan. And before long, in the middle of the ocean, a giant subaquatic facility begins to rise. But just before embarking on this plan to approach the giant subaquatic facility, Wolverine went to ask for some help and assistance from Kid Omega, who was very against dying again. Being murdered by Wolverine is not a fun thing. As he leaves, the Cuckoos tell him that they think that it is hot, that he is taking on the Pale Girl. And while Kid Omega seemingly changes his thoughts of taking on the Pale Girl, the Cuckoos tell Wolverine that he better keep up his end of the bargain and set them up on a date with Kid Cable. Back at the subaquatic facility, Wolverine pulls his boat in, seeing a massive station run by the Russians. Everyone seems to think the non-treaty nations are fencing themselves off, but Russia's been doing the opposite, it would seem. They think that they're about to move away with a payload of Krakoan petals, but they're about to receive some unwanted cargo. As the cargo bay is opened, Wolverine steps out wearing Magneto's helmet along with Iceman, Pyro, Bishop, and Storm. As the fighting erupts and Pale Girl looks out, Kid Omega begins to gloat how he had to harness Wolverine, how he had to go through a phantom version of Wolverine's psyche and body for her to mess with, to create an entire version for her to mentally conquer. And he played this game of mental chess and beat her. He won the Oscar, the Nobel, and the Pulitzer. As he continues to pat himself on the back, he's suddenly cracked in the back of the head by Jeff, who isn't under any form of psionic protection. Down in the bay, Wolverine tells Storm and Pyro to find the lab and destroy the crop. They will handle things out here. The two quickly head deeper into the facility and begin to torch it while Wolverine heads off to settle his score with the Pale Girl. As she begins to leave, she tells him that she doesn't need to get inside of him to control him. Magneto's helmet might protect him from psychic controlling, but it doesn't matter. He thinks his friends are his strength, but they are his weakness. He suddenly stops, looking back to see Jeff holding a gun to his head, telling him to not step any closer to the Pale Girl or Jeff will shoot himself. Wolverine slowly walks towards Jeff, telling him that she is in his head. Think of your daughter, she's sick, remember? And once close enough, Wolverine snatches the gun as the Pale Girl's hold begins to fade. As he turns around, he realizes that while he was saving Jeff, she fled. And even though she managed to escape, the pollen operation has been stopped, and the medicines are now going to the people who need it, including Jeff's daughter. As Jeff and Wolverine share a beer, Jeff squirts some hand sanitizer into Wolverine's hand, telling him that he might have a healing factor, but his daughter doesn't. I owe you a lot of beers and many thanks. You got me off the waiting list for the medicine. You saved her life, not to mention mine. Wolverine tosses his empty bottle onto the lawn, and Jeff tells him, I know what's going on, you're defecting. You're so convinced that you're bad, Wolverine, that it gets in the way of you being good. I saw you, the blood in your hands, the blood of your friends. That doesn't wash off. And if you can get over being a monster, anyone can. Jeff's daughter hops off the swing set, runs up, asking if he can stop drinking beer with his grumpy friend and take her out for pizza. Jeff laughs. I guess he is my friend. Should we invite him too? As the two head backstage, sends Wolverine a message that the Quiet Council is demanding his immediate presence. Something about him going rogue and stealing Magneto's helmet. Jeff looks back, asking Wolverine what kind of pizza does he like, but sees a small potted gate. And Jeff's daughter asks, what are they supposed to do with that? And there you have it, the first 3 issues of Wolverine. Now, we're going to run through this whole series as it was voted on by our Patreons. They chose this to be one of the series that we cover here on the Comicstorian channel. And they have the ability to pick that because every month we put out various series of your favorite superheroes for the Patreons to vote on. If you want to be a part of that vote, go on over to patreon.com/Comicstorian and you can pick the next one. Right now, we're working on this Wolverine series and we're working on Batman the Animated Series for them. Also, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And I want to answer a question you might have. Yes, he did in fact kill Jean and everyone else. But on Krakoa right now, people are able to come back to life. I don't know if I like that, because it kind of gets rid of the stakes of what if Wolverine's gonna murder someone if he can openly murder people now. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your comments down below what you thought about this Wolverine story, and we'll see you next time with the next one.